Architecture is a profession which people were not so aware of earlier, because earlier people were quite free about what they could build. You know, the bylaws for construction and all that in cities and villages were very liberal. You know, the population density was low. There was hardly any traffic on the streets. People had larger plots of land, and they had smaller budgets. There were different kind of technologies and crafts available at the time. But what has happened is that this profession of architecture in its organized sense that we have it today is actually an import from, more advanced countries. This is something which is sort of bringing an order to the chaos or the anarchy of, individual, individual construction, which was an anarchy. Everybody did their own thing. But now what is happening with architecture is that you have professionals who can think spaces through, so that whatever is built has efficiencies built into it. They can think things through so that whatever is built has got the correct materials applied to it. They can think things through so that the correct crafts can be applied, and generally serve society via this sort of landscape that we are all obliged to live in. Eventually a city, for example, and increasingly so with villages and towns, they're architectural landscapes, and we have no choice but to live in them. So the thing is that when we walk along the street, whatever we have to face in terms of these canyons and cliffs of buildings on both sides of us, this is something that is given to us by the architects, in the same way as what we live with when we are inside these cliff dwellings and gorges. That is also given to us by architects. So the thing is that architecture and architects, good, bad or ugly, is not the question. The thing is that we can't get away from them. I think events like this have to do with the larger community just as well as they have to do with the architectural community itself. And there is a necessity for both. For example, the architects amongst themselves should know what the other is doing and sort of behave like community, because it's a question of carrying forward the city, carrying forward the architectural evolution and history of the place. And architecture itself has to work with each other's, meaning your building has to work with the next person's building, and so on and so forth. In the same way, community has to live with architecture. And so if they participate in such events or such, multi-events, then society, number one, gets to know what the architectures are trying to do. Architects get to know what the society would like them to do. Government and the public sector can find out what are the shortcomings, what are the aspirations of the community, what are the shortcomings and aspirations for the architects. And it's just a round win-win for all, and should happen more and across more professions, in fact.
3-day exhibition has been organized today by Plan B initiative in collaboration with Directorate of Museum, Department of Cultural Affairs. It is an excellent initiative where we are having new concepts of houses, new concepts of gardens. It will teach, people will learn how to live in an eco-friendly ambience, because that will really help in developing the cities as well as developing the state in a more cultured and refined manner, in an artistic manner.
I think this has been a huge success. Number one, it was very ambitious, of course, but somehow to pull it all together, it did come together. By my measure of what I've seen happen in other parts of the country and maybe a couple of other countries, is by all these measures it was a very, very successful event, most particularly because it was the first. But that's not an excuse. The exhibition was fine. There might be some shortcomings insofar as next time you all would like to work with a better substrate, better printing technology. The presentations were very good. There might be a small shortcoming insofar as next year you might want to have more presentations, or you might want to ask some presentations to go deeper and to be more interactive. The panel discussion, well, I was fortunate to be invited to moderate it, and I think it went off rather well. It was a conversation amongst a cross-section of society, including the general public, which was well represented in the audience. And I think everybody came away with outcomes. I did not get to see the workshop, but I did get to meet a couple of young architects who did participate in the workshop. They were very happy with the 2 days they spent there. And I know that what remains of the presentations that are to come, there are people looking forward to them. So altogether, I would say that it was an ambitious effort, but it was pulled off exceedingly well. And so congratulations to the team that did so.